So for this video and the next one on the channel, we're going to be talking about 2016 drafted NHL prospects. Prospects? No, not prospects anymore. They're just kind of there. They're just kind of guys that really have not broken out in a way that fans would have wanted them to, and as a result, and with the way things are going down now, could be labeled as bust material? I don't like saying it, but I mean, we're kind of in that territory already. So, let's go over the Chicago Blackhawks and their entire forward situation, just who is on this team, what's happened with the extra guys, and how they need to make a few more roster cuts that will probably hurt the soul a little bit. This is kind of what everybody is looking at when it comes to the Blackhawks and their forward lines. You have yourselves a whole bunch of players that are kind of going to be in that range of being solidified players on their roster. DeBrincat, Johnson, Kane, Kubalik, Taves, Kurashev are all pretty much locks, and then you have the other guys there that are most likely going to be swapping around too. Kirby Dach is going to be on this team, but then you have other wingers swapping around like Adam Gaudette maybe, Hagel is in there, you have Carpenter might be an option too. There are a whole bunch of forwards that are available to put in the last little bit of this lineup from the guys like Strome, Reichel, Borgstrom, Jujar Khaira, and a few other players too, but the one we're focusing on this video is a player who hasn't really necessarily had the best training camp, preseason, and overall showcase so far. It's Alexander Nylander. Nylander, to me, was always one of the most interesting prospects out of the 2016 NHL Entry Draft. He was taken in the top 10, 8th overall by the Buffalo Sabres, and he is a Calgary-born Swedish player, 23 years old, 6'1", 192, as a winger center. In my experience watching him, though, he's mostly just been right wing. He's a right-handed guy, and he's a player that was taken that high in the draft for a reason. The perspective that was kind of going around about Nylander back in 2016 was that he had the potential of being better than his older brother William, who was taken in the top 10 of the 2014 draft. We all kind of know William Nylander as one of the most underrated players on the Toronto Maple Leafs right now, one of the lowest paid in terms of the top dogs, and a guy who was consistently producing against the Montreal Canadiens when guys like Marner and Matthews failed to show up. Alexander Nylander was supposed to have the skill and pizzazz to be better than William, and I know a lot of people go out there and love to talk about the brotherly connection and talk about how the younger brother is always hyped up by the older brothers to being better than the older brothers, but this isn't some PK Subban, oh yeah, I think Jordan Subban is going to be the best out of all of us, he's going to be better than me kind of thing. This was the media talking, saying things like this. The entire hype surrounding the World Juniors in 2016 was around older brother William Nylander of the Maple Leafs, but when William went down in the World Juniors in the first game, it was Alex who rose to the occasion and helped carry the offensive load, scoring 9 points in 7 games played. Nylander may be the most highly skilled player in the entire draft, let alone from the OHL. There indeed was this idea going around that, wow, William Nylander didn't play in the World Juniors. Alex really stood up there and was the best player on this team. Alex is going to be fantastic. In that season, he had 75 points in 57 games played for the Mississauga Steelheads. This is what the scouting report back then said. Nylander's game is all about skill, blessed with exceptional hockey sense, technical skills, and overall offensive awareness. He is very creative and shifty with speed and soft hands. Furthermore, he has a great release, a good scoring touch, and the ability to do the unexpected with the puck. On the downside, there's some consistency issues and intensity that could be better, some room for improvement when it comes to his defensive game as well. Actually, now that we're reading it, I don't think that's from a few years ago. I think that might be a little bit more recent, based off of the ending points right there. But Alex Nylander, as a Buffalo Sabres guy, was never really able to crack that roster full-time, and actually produce consistently either. He was still a good player in the World Junior tournaments he went to, producing at over point per game rates some years, and exactly a point per game rate at the last year he was there, but he never carried that same level of dominance to higher levels of play within the Buffalo system. Long story short, he was never really the prospect that the Sabres fanbase wanted him to be, and as a result, he got traded over to the Chicago Blackhawks for Henri Jokiharju, and that was a trade that a lot of people were kind of, on the surface, questioning, because Jokiharju was seen as this guy with potential, he was a defenseman, defensemen take longer to cultivate into the NHL, and Nylander was on a difficult path. In the Chicago system, though, Nylander started out his campaign with 26 points, 65 games played, 8 games played in the bubble postseason, 0 points though, so his first impressions with the team after one season were not really the best. He actually had an injury in the postseason as well, which caused him to get a surgery that forced him to miss the entire 2020-2021 season. He hasn't played a meaningful hockey game with the Blackhawks since last year's bubble. Last year, 2020's bubble, I mean. And now he's on here looking for a roster spot, however he has not played particularly well. Here's an article published by Scott Powers on The Athletic from how the Blackhawks will probably use Andrew Shaw's LTR to why Alex Nylander will likely end up on waivers. Also, we'll talk about the significance of why Kalinuk's injury. I explored the Blackhawks cap situation entering the season. This is the summary of the Athletic piece on ProHockeyRumors.com. Alex Nylander's stock has certainly fallen since the 23-year-old was selected 8th overall by Buffalo back in 2016, but it could be dipping even more, as Scott Powers of The Athletic suggests that Nylander is a likely candidate to be waived by the Blackhawks after a disappointing training camp. Power suggests that Arizona is a team that could have interest in Nylander, who missed all of last season due to knee surgery after recording 10 points and 16 assists in 65 games in 2019-20. Could we see Alexander Nylander go on waivers? Now, I'm recording this video at 9:19 a.m. October 10th, the morning of Sunday, PDT, and it'll probably be uploaded sometime within the next hour. So if he goes on waivers by the time this video is uploaded, then it kind of goes out there and confirms this idea. Alex Nylander just has not been good enough to break onto the roster over guys like Hagel and Gaudette and Carpenter, maybe Borgstrom as well. There are a whole bunch of extra forwards here on the Blackhawks, and they're going to have to make some decisions soon. And Alex Nylander is just another one of those guys. The fact is, he has not been great, and it's so disappointing for me to see as a guy that was so high on this player all those years ago. But Arizona as a potential team that maybe takes interest in this kind of guy? Honestly, I wouldn't really doubt it. This is a hockey team that loves taking on reclamation projects and is not really in a position to win anything anytime soon. They're trading away all their stars, they're acquiring a whole bunch of draft capital and prospects, and at the end of the day, I mean, Alex Nylander is still, 23, 24 years old? It's not like he's super old anyway. He still has time to really go out there and develop a little bit more. It's just what you have been expecting out of this guy from Chicago and from Buffalo as well. It really has been disappointing. This Starboard Prospects report kind of goes over the entire situation. This is from March of 2020. Nylander is fast, he has a great shot, he makes good plays in the offensive end, and can carry the puck through the neutral zone. He has skills that cannot be taught, but he does not play the best defense. He can take plays, shifts, and periods off. There's a total Jekyll Hyde aspect to his game. One incredibly positive thing to note is that in his game, he is able to seemingly find chemistry with whomever he plays with. He looked just as good playing with Taves and Saad as he did playing with Highmore and Kempf. And you know, it's this awareness, it's this adaptability that he's able to play with anybody that I really do think that a team like Arizona could benefit from this kind of guy, because look, you're going to lose Phil Kessel sometime in the next few months, I guess. He's going to be traded. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised about that. So why not try to replace a right-handed sniper who's got speed and hockey IQ with another right-handed, well, not really sniper, let's say more playmaker, who's got a really good offensive IQ and a knack for finding chemistry with whoever you want to put him in the lineup with. It's a lot easier to digest what exactly Nylander is as a hockey player when you ignore the fact that he was taken 8th overall in 2016. We'll speak about another 2016 potential bust later in today's show, but for Nylander, maybe there's just an affinity for me because I had him on my hot team last season and he was fantastic, and it was always a reminder to me of what this guy was supposed to be able to do, you know? Back when the Sabres drafted this guy, what they were expecting him to be. William Nylander, but better? William Nylander, but doing the things that 18-year-old Nylander did as a 17-year-old? All this stuff kind of put into this profile that Alex Nylander was supposed to be the next best thing. But unfortunately, it did not go down that way. Should they waive him later today, then we'll see who takes him on the waiver wire by the time tomorrow rolls around. But for Chicago Blackhawks fans, let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on Nylander, how he has developed and how he's looked so far in the preseason, in training camp, etc. The word on the block is that he's not that great. Is that true? Or is there more than meets the eye here? Let me know in the comments what do you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. Trolls 99. And bye.